Okay, thank you very much for speaking to us at here. I will start with your longevity because it's mental. I mean, over 14 years as a professional basketball player. How did you manage to maintain this consistency and keep going until now?
I mean, the blessing of God and, the East African gene, the South Sudanese gene. Also, I'm a professional and I take care of my body. I stay in the weight room. A lot of people don't understand the concept of lifting weights every day throughout the whole year, icing your body, taking care of your body, eating the right food, doing the right things for your body. So, I mean, I spent a lot of, I learned this, back in the day when I was younger, when I first was with the Lakers, always investing in your body. It's just like a business. You make profit, but then you don't stay in the same place. You always reinvest. So I've always made it a point to reinvest in my body, not just, taking the profit and just kind of like chilling.
Makes sense. You have featured in all four BAL seasons for two different teams. I mean, USM, Monastir, Petro. What is the difference among the teams that are competing in the BAL? Like, what are the difference between the teams? Because every year we see a new champions. The same story this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's just competitive. It just shows you how competitive African basketball is becoming. And the heart that a lot of African teams and players have, and African people. Very competitive, and I love it. I love the competitiveness that the ball is becoming. That's the challenge that I have to overcome, me personally, but it's amazing.
In your first BAL season, you were with US Monastir. You lost in the final. Second season, you won the championship and Best Defensive Player of the Year award. The third season, you finished fourth with Petro, and this year, you bowed out in the quarterfinals. I mean, it's full of some sort of roller coaster moments, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the sports, man. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes God has to make you humble. You have to lose games in order to learn how to win. I'm on a journey. This year, I feel like the journey that I was put through was to learn certain things about leadership, because this is the first time I think I've been put in this position. And I feel like I didn't fail because I've learned a lot, and I grew as a leader and as a basketball player. So next season, you'll see a different outcome with whatever team that I'm with because of everything that I've learned through this journey this year.
What would you put your team's exit from the BAL this year down to?
I mean, it's not a shock exit. It's, it happens. It happens in sports. You lose games, you win games, and Nigeria came to play, and they did what they're supposed to do. God bless them, and I hope they do what they're supposed to do, the rest of the way. But it's just the nature of sports, man. It's a team sport, and certain people, they win some, you lose some. It's nothing special. The thing is, as a team, you have to lose in order to learn how to win. That's my biggest thing. And we came here with a young team, younger than normal teams that we've been a part of. And I think that as the team grows, this team that was put together, I think next season you would see a better outcome. And then the season after that, you see an even better outcome, So.
Do you still feel motivated to continue playing the BAL? Because we talked to Chris Crawford, and then he said he don't feel like coming back to the BAL after being discouraged by the results in the past 4 seasons. For you, do you still feel motivated to come next year in the BAL?
I'm African. This is my league. If I don't come back, who will? You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the oldest African players in the continent, and I feel like I have a lot to give to the continent. I have a lot to give to the basketball. This is a league that was made for me, and I cannot abandon it, because of results. And for me, I've been a champion. I've been a finalist. I've lost. So I've been in all stages. So
you've seen it all.
I've seen it all, and that's part of the journey. And I'll never be discouraged. I'm gonna keep trying until I win, because at the end of the day, this is my league. This league was made for African players.
Yeah. Let's talk about your nationalities. I mean, born in South Sudan, raised and studied in Australia, but representing Lebanon. How did you decide to, snub South Sudan and Australia and opt for Lebanon. How did that decision come?
I mean, in the period of time, South Sudan didn't have a team. And when I was younger, I played for Australia. But Australia just has a big gene of players, and it was just, for me, it felt better that I go somewhere, where my talent and my skills were appreciated, and that was, Lebanon. So
Throwing back to your NBA draft selection by LA Lakers in 2011, how's that feel?
it's a great feeling. It's an amazing feeling that you have achieved something. But for me, like now as I grow older, it's not it. It's not what I used to think when I was younger. I feel like there's better things in life than just, a lot of people, everybody's so consumed in the world of sports, but for me, I'm starting to see things in a different light, in a different vision. So being drafted was amazing for a period of time, and now it's just like, okay, this is an achievement, and then what? For me is now I'm always looking, and then what? So for me, I'm always looking for the next.
You weren't able to participate in the NBA regular season. Could you please elaborate on the reasons behind that?
I mean, there was a lot of reasons, injuries, God's direction, God's path, and I mean, there's a lot of things that played a part. And one thing about me is that I'm always at peace with whatever path that was predetermined for me. I don't, not playing in a regular season game or whatever it may be, that was the path that was set for me, but I was blessed enough to be around, the late Kobe Bryant. I was blessed to be around, Paul Gasol, a lot of NBA veterans that have taught me a lot. And this is part of me being here today, still playing basketball at the age of 37.
Do you regret anything?
Never.
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 What's the most unique thing about working out with some great hoopers of all time like Kobe Bryant?
I mean, it's an amazing feeling. It's a blessing to even be playing basketball, to be dribbling a basketball. So for me, it was always a blessing. It was always amazing. I mean, when I was young, I took it for granted. But as I continued to grow, I started to realize that value and those little messages that was being sent to me. Now I replay it in my head, and it's, for example, in certain situations, in games, certain things will replay in my head where it will be like, for example, yesterday's game, we were down, by 10 at some point with 2 minutes left. In my head, it clicked in my head, it was like one possession at a time, defensive stops. Don't think about the offense, just think about defensive stops, and it clicked in my head because it's like defense wins championship, offense sells tickets. So that's how we made that run to even be down, to come down and, be, 2 possessions away.
Not being able to play in the NBA regular season, did it lower your spirits or discourage you along the way?
No, for what? For what? It's a game of basketball. It would never, my spirit as a human, my spirit as an African would never be determined by man-made things. My spirit is way too strong. My spirit of my ancestors is way too strong for me to be basketball, and all these man-made things are just things that come and go and come back and go again. So for me, it's like, okay, not doing it, so be it. There's other things that are way more important in life than that. So for me, I was never discouraged. I mean, I was motivated to get up and move on with my life and continue in the path that was predetermined.
For the very first time, you played in the Rwandan League last year with Patriots. I know you have featured for numerous elite teams across the globe. Tell me about your impressions of the Rwandan League.
I mean, Rwanda League it's an up and coming league, and I feel like it's growing, and I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years it's going to be probably one of the strongest leagues in Africa, and it's heading down the right direction. The Rwandan Federation is doing an amazing job, is doing great things, and I was very blessed to be part of it last year, and I'm looking forward to be part of it in the future, whether in a manager role or whether in a coaching role, whether in a player role, because I feel like we need to start investing in East African basketball. We need to start investing in ourselves. We're too busy investing in other people and other things. We need to start investing on ourselves. So for me, this is the flag bearer for East African basketball right here. And it was an amazing experience, and I cherish it.
Didn't work out for you with Patriot in the playoffs, but what would you attribute to that team's failure?
I mean, it's just, again, it's like not every, when you go head to head with a team, there has to be a winner, there has to be a loser. It's just the team that makes the less mistakes, that wins. And in the sports of basketball is that everybody's so consumed by winning that when they lose, because they're defined by winning, that when they lose, that becomes their identity. Me personally, I'm not defined by winnings or losses. I'm defined by how I bounce back. You get what I'm saying? So for me personally, I wasn't really, I was upset because Patriots is a great club, is a great organization, and I feel like they should have won the championship. But at the same time, I looked back and I figured out, and I thought there's a lot of things that I could have controlled, which I did not, on the court and off the court. And it was a learning experience for me to grow and to become a better, leader and become a better basketball player. So.
Do you think you underachieved, given that your team was full of, big players and the expectations was high? Do you think you underachieved?
It was predetermined. That's not in my control. Underachieving, overachieving, that's not nothing that a man can control. Because things are, for me, I'm a big spiritual person, and if things happen, it was predetermined and you have to live with it. But the main focus for me was like, did I learn what I was supposed to learn in that moment? So for me, I don't look at it overachieving or underachieving or whatever. I try not to get too low or too high, so.
I would say you are a player who is always needed by lots of teams, but sometimes you fail to reach your goals along the way in one team and still want to accomplish more in another. What kind of things which motivate you to keep going and have a good head on your shoulders?
I mean, look, me growing up, coming from where I come from, I'm not supposed to even be here. I was given second chance in life with basketball, and I feel I owe the universe to do the right thing with it. And that's the reason why I continue to live, and I continue to play hard, and I continue to sacrifice, and I continue to do what I'm supposed to do, because life has given me a second chance. And a lot of people don't know the story of my life, but I'm not gonna waste this gift that was given to me, by the universe.
What do you mean by the second chance? What really happened to you?
Where I come from in life, man, is not the greatest of places. And coming from a war-torn country, throughout the whole war and having to escape to go to Egypt, living through Egypt where people, die like dogs, and then having to go to Australia, living in the ghettos and having, there's no way that a lot of my peers have not survived, So I was given a second chance in life to be where I am today. So, and also like a lot of kids now look up to me, and like when I walk down the streets of Kigali, I'm a face that people recognize. So when kids come to watch me, I don't ever want to disappoint. And I don't show up to a game and I say, I want to be the hero today. I want to score 20 points. I want to be the MVP. No, I show them life lessons. Life lessons is not about always, being the face or always being a superstar. Always, it's about doing the things that are necessary to be done for you to be successful. And that is playing hard work. Being a good teammate, being a good person, doing the right thing, moving the right direction. Being on time, working hard. So those are the things that I focus on when it comes to me being a professional and being on the court. I'm always going to play hard. I'm always going to be a good teammate. I'm always going to do everything that my team needs to win. Because I think those are reflections of what kids need to see in order for them to grow up and be successful in life, not in basketball. Because basketball, you can relate it to life. So.
Fair enough. How long can we expect to see Ater playing basketball?
2 more seasons. I'm planning my retirement at the age of 39. Yeah, 39. So Yeah.
Have you started to think the career you will pursue after basketball? Or you will stay in basketball?
No, I would not stay in basketball, unfortunately. I'm looking into heading down a different path. The path that God has chose for me is I want to give back to Africa in any capacity that I can, because I feel like if I stay in basketball, there's so many people that are doing great things for basketball, but there's things in other parts of life that people are not paying attention to.
What pathway specifically?
I mean, you have a lot of orphanages that people are not taking care of. People are not doing things for them. You know, me, I want to see where I can help, how I can help. You have a lot of women's rights issues, a lot of young girls that are going through a lot of issues, and nobody really fights for them. People with voices, nobody really pays attention to those social issues that we are having. So for me, I feel like that's where that needs to be addressed, because basketball has already been covered by, the Rwandan, the Mohimis, the, Joachim Noahs. They're doing an amazing job. So, for me, I'm not going to go down that path. I need to cover some, we have to spread out in order to make our continent great, in order to make our home, great. So we all have to, spread out and address, passion and things that you're passionate at, and try to help the continent grow.
Players receive both fondness from people and good money in their careers, but sometimes they are exposed to mental health issues. Have you ever experienced such an issue?
I mean, I've been through up and downs when it comes to mental health. I've been in the worst of places, and I've been in the greatest of places. But I've learned in the last few years, even since after COVID, I've learned to have a baseline. I've had to flatline, always to stay right in the middle, not get too high, not get too low, and always find that balance, and also spending a lot of time with family, because I've started to realize that basketball is not it all, spending time with family and enjoying life, for a period of time, basketball consumed so much of me that I, forgot to live my life.
You have been in Rwanda for a couple of times now. What do you like the most about here?
I mean, I feel like Rwanda is my home. A lot of the Rwandan culture is very resemblant to South Sudanese culture. So whenever I'm here, I feel like I'm home. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And also, the hospitality and the kindness of Rwandan people. I think it's very something that is very special.
Who is your favorite player growing up?
Kevin Garnett.
What's your best memorable moment in your career so far?
Was seeing South Sudan qualify for the World Cup.
You weren't included though.
I don't need to be. The team is full of my cousins and people that I grew up with and kids that I've mentored. Them being out there is just like, it's like me playing out there. So I was, over the moon and very happy.
That's awesome. Who is your best friend in basketball?
My Ibrahima Thomas and Haruna.
Who does Ater Majok think is the best player in the BAL this year?
The best player in the BAL this year? Joe, my little cousin.
The toughest opponent you've ever played against in the BAL?
Toughest opponent that I have ever played against in the BAL? That's a tricky one, because I don't see any. I respect every opponent, but I don't see anybody that is. No, because for me, one thing people don't understand is that, okay, I show up to every game respecting my opponent, whether I think you're strong, tough, or whatever. But me doing my study, I would watch video on you. I would know your moves. I would know your way you play the game. I would know the way you even run, what your tendencies. So going into the game, I would know everything about you that you don't even know about yourself.
What's your go-to cheat meal?
Coffee or candy.
Favorite Rwandan food?
I haven't tried Rwandan food. I mean, the grilled fish, I'm
Well,
always...
you have to try.
You have to. No, because my diet is very strict.
Where would you like to visit that you haven't been to before?
Zimbabwe. I want to go to Victoria Falls.
What has been the most upsetting moment of your life so far?
I mean, I don't have any.
Even basketball? How does Ater Majok spend his spare time?
Reading books, sleeping, watching movies, and basically trying to expand my mind and horizon.
What's the best advice you've ever given?
Basketball is not who you are. That's your job. It shouldn't define, your character.
Who told you that?
It's a good friend of mine. Can't say his name.
How can you describe Rwanda in one word?
Amazing. Rwanda is literally where amazing happens, because you see the BAL and then you see everything that is happening there, and then at the same time you see the World Cup with South Sudan. You see how they just went from nothing to everything, so it's like Rwanda is where everything happens, it's where amazing happens. So
as a country, would you like to stay here forever, like in the future?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind living here, actually.